Hey guys, Dr. Gabe Ariciu here. Just with a short video on thyroid, I wanted to touch on the thyroid panel itself. Oftentimes when we run any of the lab work for thyroid, we'll mainly just see TSH and T4. Most of the patients that come in, that's about all that's been ran. A lot of times it's just TSH. And usual the thing is, oh, your thyroid's fine, no big deal. But there's a lot of things going on with the thyroid that can easily be missed. That's why I'm doing the 6 patterns, the videos on the 6 patterns. By far the most complicated one is the second pattern, which is your autoimmune pattern. And that it makes up about 80% of all cases. So Hashimoto's being the most common. So it's important to run a full panel. I have had several clients come in. Nothing's really sticking out of the ordinary for them. They're not dealing with fatigue or hair loss. But then I run a full panel and there's definitely issues with the thyroid. I've had a couple of patients here relatively recently. I wasn't even thinking about the thyroid from their symptoms, but sure enough, they had antibodies. And when you have antibodies, we got to take care of that. It's by far the most complicated of the patterns, but it's important to hunt for the root cause, the offender that's causing all this, causing the immune system to kind of go into hyperactive mode. So a typical thyroid panel for me includes TSH and T4, which is the ones that most of the time you see. But then it'll also be free T4, total and free T3. Those are your hormones, so T4 and T3, T3 being your most active one. Then we want to look at T3 uptake, free thyroxine, and maybe some of the most important ones, the TPO and TGB antibodies. So TPO, thyroid peroxidase enzyme, and then the thyroglobulin. If we have antibodies to that, that's indicative of autoimmune, and that's something we got to look at and get a handle on. Lastly, reverse T3. So with reverse T3, sometimes I don't run that, partially because it takes a little bit longer, and also I am able to find ways around it in the office. So typically it's a cofactor issue or an inflammatory problem, or both. If it's a cofactor issue, they may just need selenium and zinc. And it's the same thing that we need to convert T4 to T3. So if you don't know about like your vitamins and minerals, oftentimes that's where they're being used. They're used as cofactors to create something new or along a biochemistry pathway. TSI, so actually the last one on that list, more Graves specific. So if I have a Graves client, and I have quite a few of them, that's something that we need to run and track. But that is a full thyroid panel to me. Obviously, there's other things that we could run and make sure, but we need to at least run those. As we do that, especially as functional medicine doctors, we're going to include a different range. So you got the lab ranges, which are included on any of the results that you get. But you also, for us, we're going to look at functional ranges, where we're kind of squeezing in those ranges. That way you can catch something if it's going too low or too high, and so we catch it early before maybe more disastrous issues come down the road. And you also just catch different things. Is it a primary thyroid, or is it a secondary thyroid? And there's something more like inflammation, stress, or blood sugar related that we got to look at. Hopefully this helps, and hopefully it gives you a little bit of a clue in that there's a lot going on with the thyroid than just a couple of markers. We definitely need to dig deeper when it comes to this one.